Yo, hello everybody, to my fellow tech enthusiasts and the like. Welcome to this very first video demonstration, where I'll be talking about this laptop, the Dell Latitude D630. It's a 14-inch laptop with a max resolution of 1440 by 900 pixels. It was originally released in 2007 and supported either Windows XP or Windows Vista at the time. But here you can see that it's also capable of running Windows 10. Hey, fun fact, by the way, this model was also used in a scene of Breaking Bad, where they used powerful magnets to destroy it. And I think that's pretty interesting. Anyway, moving on, here's a top-down view of the laptop. If flipped around, you can gain access to the battery of the laptop by releasing the latches. This battery in particular is a replacement that I'd purchased because the original one could no longer hold the charge. Now, let's look at the side ports and devices. On the right is a DVD rewritable drive and 2 USB ports. The back supplies the AC power connector, VGA and serial ports, 2 more USB ports, a modem, and Ethernet ports. And lastly, the left side gives us a PC card slot, a Wi-Fi switch, FireWire port, and both mic and headphone jacks. To access the hard drive, there will be 2 screws designated to it at the bottom right. Remove these and then pull the caddy out to release the drive. Now, in this particular case, I went ahead and installed a solid-state drive instead of a regular old mechanical hard drive. The drive in this model originally came with an extremely slow hard drive, with a capacity of about 80 gigs. Next, in the middle is another screw which, if removed, gives you access to one of the RAM DIMMs. But hey, wait a minute. You are all probably wondering, where in the world is the other RAM DIMM? Well, to get to the other RAM DIMM, you will need to position the laptop right side up again, and then remove the top portion of the laptop, just above the keyboard. I just used a flathead bit screwdriver to pop it off from the right side. Then remove the 3 screws holding it all together. Afterwards, the keyboard can easily be removed, but be careful not to damage the ribbon cable. And there's that other RAM DIMM. Wow, such a hassle. Oh, I guess this also gives you access to a couple other things on the main board, specifically the Wi-Fi card up here. And lastly, the DVD drive is also removable by releasing the button on the right. And with all that done and said, here's a brief list of this specific laptop's specifications. Alright, moving on from the hardware details, let's finally boot up the laptop. Hitting F2 on the keyboard will allow you to access the BIOS. And as you can see, it's really nothing fancy, just your typical BIOS from 2007. Alright, now let's boot into Windows. And yep, that solid-state drive definitely helps speed things up a little. With the original hard drive, loading Windows would take way longer. And with Windows finally loaded, I can use Task Manager to do a quick check of the system specs. Also, because of the resolution on this laptop, things will appear kind of small, so for the sake of this video, I have everything scaled up a bit. Here's how it looks at its original scale. Next is functionality. Here's a quick demonstration of the min and max brightness settings using the function keys. And to adjust the volume, just tap the buttons at the top of the keyboard, right near the power button. The mute button is also placed here too. As for typing, I wouldn't say this keyboard is very top of the line. Compared to more modern laptops, the keys on this unit are very close and have a very minimal gap between them, making it somewhat cramped while typing. But in the end, it all boils down to user preference when it comes to typing. So if you're a fan of minimal gap keyboards, then it really isn't my place to judge anyone. Next is the audio output, and this is how the unit sounds from typical sitting distance. I ran some benchmarks on this laptop too, and boy did it take a long time. But with the magic of video editing, you won't have to sit through it like I did. I ran Cinebench first and performed both a multi-core and a single-core test, which took like an hour and a half in total. And these are the results of that, not too shabby. Also did a Geekbench test too, and I'll leave a link to the results in the description for anyone interested. Lastly, let's see if it can game. I played a couple games on it, and let's just say it did surprise me in some ways and disappointed me in others, but it shouldn't be all that surprising for the most of us. It does have a dedicated graphics processor in it, the NVIDIA Quadro NVS 135M. And as you can see here, I'm running vanilla Minecraft at the lowest settings. It struggles quite a bit to maintain more than 5 FPS. And then I decided to give Sonic Generations a try. And to no surprise, it also struggled to maintain high enough FPS, making the game very unplayable. And lastly, I decided to try Sonic Mania, a less graphics intense game, and it ran pretty smoothly. But this isn't much of a shocker, since this game is designed to run at its bare minimum with this same exact processor in the laptop. It did, however, have some weird hiccup moments while I was playing, where the game would just stutter out of nowhere without warning, so something to keep in mind. Aside from that, I was able to play throughout most of the game pretty comfortably. So, what's the takeaway here? Well, this laptop is definitely too old for most modern end users. For everyday tasks, sure, it can handle browsing the web or editing images with a photo editor. But trying to render 3D is obviously where it struggles the most. And furthermore, this laptop was originally released and intended to be used with Windows XP or Vista. Windows 10 definitely eats more resources, which can further impact the performance on a device this outdated. So I'd suggest installing a lightweight Linux distro, such as Ubuntu or XFCE, Linux Mint, or any older devices you may have. In this case, I installed XFCE Linux Mint on this laptop, and it ran quite fine. It even ran a bit smoother because it was using less resources. Lastly, as of recording this video, this laptop is still being sold, and you can get it for around $100 on Amazon today. However, if you look in other areas, you could get it at even a more affordable price. eBay often has better offers. Someone's even selling this one with very similar specs to the one I tested in this video, but it's got Windows 7 on it instead of Windows 10. And that pretty much wraps up this video on the Dell Latitude D630. I really enjoyed testing this laptop out and pushing it to its limits somewhat. And for a unit that's roughly around 16 years old now, it's good to see that it can still keep up with some of the modern software today. And as I said, if for whatever wacky reason you decide you want to own this laptop, just try to be patient with it. Because personally, I consider it to be more of a collectible for casual use, rather than to be used for an actual on-demand workflow environment. So give this video a thumbs up if you found it interesting in any way, and also consider subscribing. That'll help out the channel a lot, especially if you want more content like this one. With that said, enjoy, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.